Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Fearless Challenge, day 15 conversation. I think that this one is good for both shows. So here we are. Um, Thank you if you're tuning into 321, and thank you if you're tuning into the Recovering Entrepreneur Show. I know I kind of cheat a little about sometimes having the same episode across both shows, but that's something I learned that's okay along the way. And kind of ties into the topic that is our prompt for today. So the question was, what is the most, I don't want to word it wrong, like the most impactful investment I ever made, or the most, yeah, we'll call it impactful. I can't remember the exact language, and that's okay too. So there's a list, probably a mile long, of things that I've invested in: courses, college, um, the 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 money, time, and energy that I spent connecting with Blue October so that I can use their music for the podcast and so that I can hire them someday. Like I could just, jump on the phone and be like, hey, I want to hire you. That was not an option 3 or 4 years ago. Knowing TV stars, uh, like a producer of a show and stars of a show, and being able to just text them or talk to them. These doors are just opening, and it's not about riding on other people's success. It's, for me, I guess let me start with the investment. The investment has been into myself and my personal development. Now, the reason I think that this is good for both shows is because the investment in personal development happens through my recovery lens, and then it happens through my business lens. The common denominator is investing in myself for these opportunities. So there's variables such as, investing time. I invest so much time, whether it's going to a meeting, or it's podcasting, or it's emailing and creating social media content, or it's formal stuff like going to classes. I can't think of a time or a moment in the last, I don't even know how many years, that I was not working on something. Even when I was in active addiction, I was going to Zumba conferences, and I, the reason I went was to try to make my skills better, which is pretty much why I do anything that I do. College, the same thing, to try to increase my skills. And then the coursework that led into all of this. Once I decided that I wanted the 321 dream and what it involves, I started investing in more formal business courses, online courses, speaking competitions, uh, seminars, boot camps, like a lot of stuff. I would probably have enough to retire in the bank, I think, if I didn't spend all the money on these things. But funny thing, I had this conversation recently with a relative who was telling me her advisement was something along the lines of, I should get a real job and a real, do like the 401k thing and plan for my retirement. And I let it kind of sit there. I wanted her to know that she was heard, but I circled back and I was like, well, okay, so let's say I get a normal job, and let's say that I, save up for this retirement. Like what's retirement look like? And to me, a lot of people retire so that they can travel and so that they can enjoy life, right? Like without the commitment of 9 to 5. Well, if I'm already doing that, then I don't understand the point of consuming my time with serving someone else at a day job to earn the right to enjoy life. Like that's part of what all of this learning has done. It's brought me around to living my best life, enjoying my life. If it wasn't so bad for my health and my cholesterol, I would live dessert first all the time. Because what if it was my last meal? I'd want to get the chocolate mousse stuff in or the creme brulee in. Like, let's be real. And that's how I feel like I live my life. But it was only because I invested in myself to a point that I now believe in myself. And in the written part of my post, I talk about, getting to meet the TV stars and the billionaires and all these people. And it's not really about getting to meet them or being in the same room with them or connecting with them on that level. What it's really about is being around people that inspire me and show me that it could be done. Like, if you ever heard Pitbull's story, for example, and if you don't know who he is, he's like an amazing musician. And he's on my future husband list too. But he comes from a background of, well, excuse me, I couldn't hit pause quick enough. A drug-filled background, that he rose above. He's an immigrant from Cuba. Like, he gives back. Like, that's the kind of person I want to be like, and that I aspire to be like. So that's what really being around these people has done for me. I wouldn't be around those people, though, if I didn't make the choices to spend the money to be at the events or to do the work, when other people are watching TV. And it happens here in this house all the time, right? Like, the TV's going, but I'm upstairs and I'm here trucking along online, working towards doing the thing, trying to crack the code on how to make my chain of recovery playgrounds come to fruition the way that it is in my head. Always talking to people. That's another thing. Investing in all the travel. So in the last, I realized that I have had a good life of travel, being a truck driver in my early 20s. And then, just taking vacations and doing the things. I've had a pretty active travel itinerary as part of life. Dating a boy in a different state didn't hurt that either. But as things evolved now the last few years, I have been, to Dubai. I've been to the UK. I've gotten immersed in different nationalities by, like, I stayed in the UK for, I think, 6 or 8 weeks. So getting to learn things about that culture and then the culture of the people I was staying with, driving around the country and not being afraid to talk to strangers, because I drive a lot to these events. I made the most valuable friends, incredible, like, mentors. Like, I called one yesterday and I was like, hey, I just want you to know you're doing a good job. Like, I miss you because I don't get to hang out with him so much because he does such a good job. His business is growing. But just celebrating his success and being around people that want to celebrate success, like, that alone is a win. So I didn't know I was doing that. I thought I was paying to acquire information, but really I was paying to find Bobby, like, to find Bobby's purpose, to get clarity around what I want 3-1 to look at, why it's important. I mean, the podcast alone, like, that was so out of my freaking comfort zone. I wasn't afraid of the learning online piece of it, but learning online and then having to show up and have conversations and ask quality questions and be very respectful of people's times and know enough about things to talk to people. And I don't like watch the news. I don't get hung up on a lot of the BS. I don't even have the notifications on my social media turned on so that I can check it on my own time. So even managing my time and my livelihood and my values has been something that's come out of this. I think it's important. I know it's important that we know who we are and what we want and what we're working towards. And hiring mentors and coaches, going to trainings, reading. Oh my gosh, that's another amazing, amazing investment. Maybe you're not ready to invest huge in yourself yet. Maybe that's still a little scary. Invest in Audible or a library card. Like, if you want the thing and maybe you don't know where to start there. Start in the library. Start with podcasts that make sense. Like I used to listen to Pat Flynn's show because he was about podcasting, and I listened to the Life Coach School, which the takeaways, I have a few takeaways from that I integrate into my daily life all the time. But I had to invest in the time. So you know how I used to listen to the podcast? I actually helped the environment a little and my body. I would walk to work to give myself the time to listen to the podcast. And I will say that making that time, I got my exercise in, I got my education in. So I was investing in myself instead of, here's the alternative, sitting on the couch, watching TV in the morning, sitting on Facebook, scrolling around, going to work early to be a superstar for someone else and probably not be appreciated. So you cannot go wrong when you invest in yourself, whatever that looks like. And it's going to look like different, but it's going to, in most cases, it's going to involve time, money, energy, commitment. And if you're not committed, hopefully you could find a way or find something that does light you up enough that you can be committed 100%. I have my moments where I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What am I thinking that I can figure out where to find $50 million? What am I doing? Who am I to do that? And how am I going to pull this off? And maybe I should just like freaking give it up and go back to the normal way of life. I'll never know if I don't keep fighting and keep learning and keep having faith in myself. That's where the investment is, in myself, in my mindset, into believing that I can. That's what all of these things are. They're tools to help me with that. And I've studied enough to know that this mission is infallible. We're 4 years in, 5 years in. Where are we? 2023. Yeah. And I haven't stopped yet. I haven't figured out all the pieces, but I haven't stopped yet. And I'm going to keep going. And that's what the investment is. And if I quit, so here's the thing. I keep going, and let's say I fail, or I keep going and I succeed. If I don't keep going, I never have the chance to succeed. And the succeeding will really impact people's lives, many people's lives, lots of people's lives, future generation lives, rippling across the world lives. So is it worth investing to get to help millions and millions of people? Yeah, it absolutely freaking is. And this is my calling, and it became clear by doing the work and showing up for myself and showing up for who I help and who I will help more in the future. So that's what I got. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for following along with the Fearless 30 Challenge, where we are supposed to be vulnerable, valuable, and visible. And I can tell you that this is probably the most content consecutive days that I've produced, and we're at the halfway mark today. And just that alone, you'd think it was about the message and the prompts, but the other value, because I'm choosing to do it this way, I could show up and record a minute live. This is another example of the investment. I could show up, follow the prompt, fill in the blanks, and post it and be done with it. Instead, I'm investing the time into sharing it as a podcast, sharing it across all socials, creating video and content around it, having these full-blown conversations. Like doing my homework is taking about an hour and a half a day to do one prompt. And it's an investment. So I'm not just doing it half-assed. And the value I get, it's a free freaking challenge, guys. That's the other piece. Investing in yourself, it doesn't mean it has to cost a shit ton of money. I will tell you that the benefits from investing a shit ton of money are very motivating. Alok said to us at the beginning of the thing, he says, well, I want you to act like this cost you $500. Like, how would you show up if this cost you $500? And then he said, well, what if it cost you $5,000? If you paid $5,000 for something, wouldn't you want to show up? So sometimes even taking that calculated risk and investing in yourself can be a tool for accountability. And sometimes there'll be side effects, like me getting in this good habit of creating content and talking to you about the day-to-day right now. So, all right. Thanks for being here, beautiful people. Until day 16, I will talk to you later.